And we're back again for another edition of the Rush Report, Thanksgiving edition. Nick, how are you this week?
Oh, it's time to relax, eat some turkey, watch some football.
I don't want to talk about it. I was really looking forward to Thanksgiving football, and the Shield and the NFL said, nope, the Steelers are going to get messed up by COVID again. Thank you, Baltimore. I hope Pittsburgh blows Baltimore out of the water. So I'm representing the Steelers right here, hoping for a good week this week. Nick, we've got 2 weeks left of the regular season, and I don't know if people realize that it's now or never.
Yeah, I was going over the standings earlier today. It's really interesting to see how tight some of it is. Some of the back enders have a shot in the upper league just to stay alive and improve.
4-7 still has a chance to make the playoff in the bigs. And Shane last week had a big win. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about him possibly being relegated. He might eke into the playoffs.
Experience is playing a big role here. Shane's been doing it for a minute, so he knows what he's doing.
It is.
And I was navigating down the Wii. Basically, it's not all out for little Micah, but it's interesting because there's 6 seeds down there, and there's 7 people that could very well compete.
Micah needs some help, but he still could do it. So here we are. Let's look at the Rush Report this week. I mean, what we've got for matchups. This can be a big week for some people. I know I'm in a big matchup, and my fantasy league says you're the matchup of the week. So we're gonna go through this and really see what we're looking at. So we're gonna start off here just because that's the way MFL is set up. My matchup against Darren. I mean, Darren's fighting for a playoff spot. Again, another person. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about possibly being relegated, and this week has an interesting twist to it.
He's got some injury bugs going on. I mean, but
He's got some injury bugs and some COVID bugs going on.
yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what actually plays out with his with Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas is always questionable. I mean, even with the sprinter in the backfield throwing the ball. I mean, he still put up solid numbers, but I mean, you put healthy Terry McLaurin, scary times.
It's scary. He's got a quarterback. They're playing a bad defense. I mean, this is going to be a close matchup. I can't pick against myself, but Darren scares me here.
Yeah, you don't got Christian McCaffrey, I think, who would give you a little bit of help.
Yep.
He's got the wide receivers, and I'm not going to give him the edge on running back. However, Delvin Cook, the last few weeks, has been putting up over 200 total yards.
Dalvin Cook is a monster. Antonio Gibson is becoming a fantasy stud. And, I mean, I'm hoping J.D. McKissick at least gets a touchdown to keep up with Antonio Gibson this week.
Yeah, most teams are a 2-back system, so, I mean, McKissick's handling a lot of the pass catching, it looks like. So he'll be all right there. I mean, Darren's got the edge, I mean, and he's the lower seed here.
Yeah, Darren needs to win more than I do. I'll win this week, and I clinch a playoff spot. Darren wins this week, and it goes a long way, giving him some breathing room going into next week. So who do you got in this matchup?
I'm rolling with Darren.
All right, so that means I'm going to win.
But this will be an interesting to keep tabs on. I'll be watching a little bit more this week on everybody.
Yep. The next matchup that we come to is kind of a bottom feeder matchup between Chad and my uncle. This is an interesting matchup. I feel like my uncle has gotten bit by the fantasy bug this year. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy. He's got inconsistent players who many thought could have been valuable role players, and the injury bug has killed him this year.
Yeah, I mean, you got Montgomery coming back from injury. Galladay looks like he's out, and Ingram's got the vid. Lazard, I don't know where he was last week.
I think he was just working his way back in. And then Chad's put up some impressive numbers, and his team is starting to take shape. He's not going the full Buffalo wide receiver route. Chase Claypool, you know how I feel about him. Deshaun Watson, he's going to be a stud tomorrow on Thanksgiving. Chad's running backs are a little questionable. Jamal Williams might get a goal line touch, and Kenyon Drake against the Patriots. Who knows what we're going to get?
Yeah, that's the question mark. Jamal Williams is I wouldn't. I wouldn't put past Chad for putting Wayne Gallman in.
No.
Truthfully, um, the Bengals without Joe Burrow, they don't have a spark. That team's kind of just going to die off. It seems off rest of the year.
Yep.
I would. Chad's got the edge only because he's got the higher ceiling players.
Yep. I'll take Chad with the edge because I think Miami's defense is going to have a bounce back week against a terrible Jets team. I'm going to take Chad. I don't think it's going to be as close as what NFL is saying. I'm going to say Chad's going to win by 17.
Yeah, Chad beat his projections last week, and just about hit 120.
Yep, and here we come to a good matchup of guys who've been in this league for a while. In Shane versus Adam. Adam needs some life. He's trying to not get relegated. He is the team this year that has been bit by the injury bug and might cost him a spot in the league, much like Jeremy's team. Maybe we need to call this team the curse of Jeremy.
Oh, it's a rough team this year. I mean, he's got Saquon on IR, so
he's got Saquon on IR. I mean, he's struggled this year keeping guys healthy. I mean, nothing that you can do about it.
Yeah, and it's
disappointing.
And he had Dak too, so
and Dak, that was the other one. When you lose your QB1 and your RB1, especially when one of them's a keeper. I mean, Dak was lighting it up at the beginning of the year. And Shane has played some right cards the last couple weeks. He's gotten the hot hands right.
He's playing put together. I mean, right now, I mean, they say, for instance, he were to stay up here next year. In theory, I mean, he at least got Chris Godwin out of the deal.
Yep.
So that's
he's got Chris Godwin and he's got
deal.
Travis Kelce. I mean, those aren't bad pieces to try to build around if you can get a quality running back in the third round. I mean, this matchup right here is for position to not only have to win one game to not get relegated.
Does Thielen have COVID?
Thielen's on the COVID list right now, but that could change.
So that might have more to do with who could win this.
It does. That has a big sway in it. I'm going to take Adam in this matchup because I think Goff is going to have another big night, and Curtis Samuel with Christian McCaffrey out of the lineup. Who doesn't love Tyreek Hill?
Curtis Samuel has been really surprising with PJ Walker last week.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Rule loves Curtis Samuel.
It's Curtis Samuel, Tyreek Hill. I mean, he's got the edge. Statistically, Adam has the edge to win this week.
Yep. And then here's a matchup. I mean, I feel like this week is so full of big matchups. I mean, Jeffrey versus Matt. Jeffrey's fighting for that playoff spot. He's got the second most points scored in the league against Matt, who's been he's fighting for that number 1 overall seed.
Yeah, Matt, Mr. Who's running the ball? Well, he's got a whole lot of people to run the ball.
He does. He's gotten lucky with some guys getting injured. He's got some guys on his bench too that I think could play big roles on Sunday if DeAndre Swift isn't available tomorrow. I like Gus Edwards going against the Steelers this week because who knows what that running back room is going to look like. But Jeffrey's got Gio Bernard and Chris Carson's making his return against an Eagles defense who isn't a top 5 defense anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Jeffrey has the pieces. He could win this week. I think he's facing an uphill. It's really going to be about Patty Mahomes. Can he can string it together? I mean, Jeffrey's got the pieces top to bottom. Yes, I had Zach Moss dropped him. Jeffrey has him, and now he's projected to have 11 points. I don't trust Zach Moss.
I trust Zach Moss a little bit more than you. He's getting the goal line touches, and he's a better blocker than Devin Singletary.
The Bills and Chargers game could be a very high-scoring game.
It could be. And Jeffrey didn't win last week until the final play of the Chiefs with that touchdown to Kelce. That touchdown put Jeffrey over, barely beating Brandon by 3. But I like Jeffrey in this matchup because I think Mahomes, it's a 4:30 game. He loves playing in prime time. I think Mahomes is going to go off, and I'm going to take Jeffrey over Matt in this one.
I'm going to actually root for Jeffrey with this one. And I think it's going to be more based upon the tight end position right there.
Yeah.
I don't trust Jordan Reed.
Yep. And then we have a good matchup this week. This one's not as juicy as others, but this could be a good matchup between Christy and Daniel. Christy continued Dave's losing streak last week, beat him with putting a zero burger in the quarterback position, trying to play the hot hand with Jameis Winston, and she ended up beating him not by a little bit, by about 13, 14 points.
Yeah, she laid the hurt down last week.
Imagine if she would have started a quarterback last week that played.
Yeah, I'm very confident she's in the position to. I mean, I think she was one of the ones I said that was definitely going to be in the playoffs.
Win this week and you're guaranteed a playoff spot. That's what you have to look at. And I like this lineup. It could be interesting to see what happens with Kerryon Johnson or Tony Pollard, depending on some injury reports. But Daniel just doesn't have the firepower to keep up with this. I'm going to take Christy. I don't like MFL's projections. I think Christy has another 120-point week, and no, she's not paying me to say this.
No, she's going to have another 120-point week. I mean, again, I agree with you. I don't like MFL scoring or in their projections. I think they're not accurate. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Daniel, I don't think will get regulated. He is on the fringe to miss the top 8.
Mm-hmm.
But crazier things have happened, like Brandon being competitive. So,
but not so much anymore. That's our next matchup.
I don't think he'll get regulated, but he's going to lose to Chrissy this week.
I think so. And then we come to our final matchup in the bigs. Or no, we've got 2 more. But this is the matchup that's the big matchup that MFL says is the matchup of the week. Your team, No Turkey with 10+, love it, and Brandon, who is on a three-game losing skid.
Yeah, he's staying alive. He's got the points for going this year. I mean, he's got Kyler. When DK and Julio are both out there, it's scary.
Yeah.
So, and Hunter Henry decided to score a touchdown last week. Go figure.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon's team, though, I don't see it doesn't have the it factor. Rex Burkhead is out. He needs to put in Duke Johnson before tomorrow. And then Nyheim Hines. Indy's backfield is who knows who's going to get the hot hand. Now, I will say this matchup is the matchup of receivers.
That it is, yes. I mean, he's got Julio, and Julio's questionable every single week, but he's good to go, unless any major setback. But DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett's going to be the real question here. Who gets the ball? Because last week it was Lockett, and it seems like it's 2 weeks it's Lockett, then 2 weeks it's Metcalf. So it all depends.
Yeah, I mean, last week, though, there was a little bit more balance. Metcalf had a touchdown. Tyler Lockett had a touchdown. But I don't think this is close. I wouldn't pick this as the matchup of the week. I don't think this is going to be as exciting as some of our other matchups. Nick, I mean, this is the matchup you've been waiting for all year to make fun of Brandon for keeping Marlon Mack.
And now I have to follow through and actually beat him.
You've got to follow through.
Yeah, I'm not overly worried. I think right now my only concern that I have would be if Kamara or Connor got hurt.
Yeah, yep. And then we come to our final matchup in the bigs. We've got DJ versus Dave. This is a matchup. I mean, DJ lost a heartbreaker going into Monday night. I thought he had it won, and Shane came back and won against Dave, who's on a little bit of a skid.
I'm not really sure what's going on with him right now, because that 3-headed monster in the backfield.
The 3-headed monster in the backfield. I think the problem with Dave is starting to have a problem with inconsistent quarterback play. Cam Newton's inconsistent. He's not the MVP front runner that he was 5 years ago. And Tua's a rookie. It's hard to trust a rookie in fantasy. And I like DJ's lineup. Aaron Rodgers, Philip Lindsay, who Denver decided to run the ball, and then this guy named Aaron Jones. I know they're playing the Bears, but Aaron Jones seems to show up for big games.
My question for the Packers is what Aaron Rodgers is going to show up.
True.
We've seen more and more this. There's some crazy stat out there. You got to go look it up. How many games Aaron Rodgers has actually won when they're down at halftime?
Yeah, it is an interesting stat.
Aaron Rodgers is nice to everybody. I'm a Packers fan. I like him. Problem being, he can't win when he's from behind anymore. I don't know why. And then especially when he's down in the fourth quarter, he can't win games. So he's got to stay ahead. The Bears are not that good, but they're winning games. They are.
I mean, the Bears defense is good, but I like the wide receiver matchup. I think Justin Jefferson's going to have a good game. The Panthers secondary isn't great. And look out for James Washington. James Washington against Baltimore last time, he got overlooked, and he ended up having a touchdown.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what actually goes on with the whole wide receiving, because you got Claypool, Juju, Washington. You got Ebron, who's actually been a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give the edge to Dave this week. The three-headed running back monster, you can't stop it, but it'll be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, I'm going to give the edge to Dave. I'm hoping James Robinson has a nice little bounce back. A good consistency, the out-of-nowhere kid taking over for Fournette. He's a little story, so I'm hoping for –
Jacksonville did play Pittsburgh, the number one rush defense in the league last week. That might be why James Robinson fell off the map.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and the inconsistency of the Eagles, but Dave should have that.
Yeah. And then we come down to the Wii League. Two teams that need a win, Stephanie with Team Baldwin and Micah with Russell Sprouts. This is a very good matchup, I think. It's an even matchup, and I like Micah's chances, even though MFL says Stephanie's the winner in this week.
Micah, I'm rooting for you. I really am. Devontae Adams, I mean, he's got a Q on there. I'm not really sure why. I haven't really seen anything.
He's questionable all the time now.
But
the wide receiver, they're always questionable.
He's got I'm sorry, Miles Sanders. And as you said earlier, the Seahawks aren't the Seahawks like they used to be. Kenyon Drake could be a factor. Russell Wilson, he's got the pieces to win.
Yeah, this is a must-win for Micah. Micah has to win this week to have any chance going into the final week of the regular season to try to make a playoff push. And I think he has the weapons to do it this week.
Yeah, I don't think there's enough pieces. I don't trust Antonio Brown. That's just me. I don't trust Jarvis Landry, and I definitely don't trust Sammy Watkins. So there's Stephanie's got two good wide receivers. She's got Patty. She's got Travis. But Mike is playing for pride right now.
Yep.
And a possibility of getting in. So he could slug it out. I'm going to pick Micah because he has the higher potential.
Yep. And then we come to Nate versus what'd I do? Come to Nate versus Jeremy. This is a matchup of guys who have been in the bigs, who are trying to get back. I think Jeremy wins this. Jeremy's a juggernaut down there, and Nate's hanging on for dear life.
Interesting fact: Nate's only one position above Micah.
I know.
So this is like
Micah's 4-7 and Nate's 5-6. I mean, Micah needs Nate to lose this week.
Yeah. This is Jeremy. I am, however, having a hard time picking against them this year.
Yeah, I think his 3 losses are COVID flukes. Should we say that?
It's 2020.
And then we come to Brian and Mark, Battle of the Brothers. This is just got to be a fun matchup between the two brothers. Once again, Brian comes through with a team name. No Breeze, let's have a burger. He's going big. He's going Ben, and he wants to win this week.
Yeah, I mean, Mark keeps winning.
Mark does keep winning, though.
I mean, Ronald Jones came back alive last week. Kareem Hunt is a shell of himself, but that's because he's the number 2 behind Nick Chubb.
He just takes off from the 5-yard line and soars into the end zone, and that's about all he can do now.
I mean, if DeAndre Swift is actually playing, then Mark's got the edge and running back. Otherwise, Brian has the edge. Wide receivers, I want to say Brian has got the edge. Brian has a shot to win. He really does.
I think for pride, Brian's going to win. I think Brian wants to win. He's been bit by a little bit of the Michael Thomas bug. I'm going to take Brian. Nothing against Mark, but Brian's got to have some pride this week.
And I don't
trying to at least somewhat stay alive in the Wii League.
And I don't dislike Deshaun Watson. I don't trust Deshaun Watson.
No, but he's going to have a big day. Just watch. He's going to have a huge day tomorrow.
I
may or may not have Deshaun Watson stocks in other leagues.
I got no stock in him.
And then we come to our final matchup of the week. We have Caleb versus Dan. Dan's working hard to try to get back. We hope to see Dan back in the bigs, but Caleb's been impressive down in the Fun V this year.
He's got the 2 crazy running backs going on there.
He's got the running backs, and he's got a choice between quarterbacks that most people would envy.
I personally wouldn't start Tom Brady.
I wouldn't either, but that's him. He hasn't submitted a lineup yet. Josh Allen was on a bye last week. So there's a very good chance that Josh Allen will be starting.
Look to their tight end. That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Caleb's got a little bit of a issue with T. Higgins. If he can still carry it over with his next quarterback, I mean, the Giants aren't a force.
Yep.
But he's got Robbie Anderson, who's been consistent. So, I mean, it's –
Yep. So who are you taking in this matchup, Dan or Caleb?
This is Caleb.
I'm going to take Dan. I think Dan has the running backs here with Chris Carson, Mike Davis, and Aaron Jones. I think those 3, if he switches out Kenny Golladay for Tyler Boyd or Brandon Cooks, I would go Brandon Cooks. I think Dan wins this, and I think it's going to be a return for Dan. I'm calling it right now, a return to Dan for the bigs.
Yeah, I think earlier I picked I picked Dan and Jeremy. I might have picked Nate as well.
Yep.
For a promotion.
So as we close off, let's look at I can't talk right now. Let's look at the standings. Okay. I mean, we know the top 3 seeds are going to be you, Matt, and probably Dave. I'm sitting there at 4th. Christy's sitting in 5th. Somebody, please beat Christy so that way I don't have to play her in the first week of the playoffs. I still haven't beat her this year. Please, somebody lose so that way I can move up and she can move or stay there. Please, please, please.
Yeah, and I play you next week, so that'll be interesting to see how that all works out.
It will be. And then Jeffrey, I think Jeffrey has a good line at making the playoffs. And then we've got Dan, Shane, right outside looking at Darren and Brandon. I think if Shane wins this week and Brandon loses, it could be an interesting week 13 between those two.
Week 13 will be interesting. A lot of things, of course, got to be played out this week.
Yep.
But Shane, you've got DJ and Daniel and Chad.
Yeah.
Where are they going to fly? Because right now, Darren's in 8th. So Darren is
in 8th.
He is the line.
Yep.
So they have to look at, but you also got to look at the streaks going on too. There's some interesting streaks going on for wins, and
There
Darren
is.
Darren's winning, so you got to catch somebody else.
And then let's look at the Fun V quickly. I mean, I think Jeremy's a lock to get back up. Dan and Caleb are both 7-4. It's interesting to see that, but I think Dan's a lock to move up. And then I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I think I'm gonna say Nate's gonna move up.
I'm comfortable with the three gentlemen returning back to the top. Saying that right now, just based upon their teams.
Yep.
You can't count Caleb out though.
You can't count Caleb out, and you can't count Micah out. Micah has enough to make some noise, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out going into week 13.
I don't want to discount Stephanie, but
Stephanie's
her,
always so close and
her
can't get over the hump.
team does not do well in the playoffs. So
No.
that's rolling against her. We've been doing this, 3-4 years?
Fourth year. This is the fourth year of 2 leagues.
So she's got 3 years going against her, how her team literally just falls apart, either bad decision making or just injury bug. So
yeah.
That alone is why I'm picking against her.
Yeah. So here we are, final week. Nick, have a great Thanksgiving. Look forward to football and enjoy and relax, even if there's no Steelers-Ravens game. Good luck this week in the bigs, and may the odds be ever in your favor.